Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this beautiful waves blanket. It's not a zigzag blanket, it's a wavy one. Now before you take a gasp and say I am not going to be able to do this, you will. Once you get the hang of this is easy to follow. It's just a 2-row repeat. If you're in the UK, it's UK treble crochets and a row of double crochets. If you're in the USA, it's a row of double crochets and a row of single crochets. Because a lot of people from the USA watch my channel as well, I like to tell everyone both terms for the stitches. Now, I started this blanket with 10 rows of lemon. Then I did 6 rows of white, 6 lemon, 6 white, and so on. When I finish it, I'm going to finish it on 10 rows of lemon. Now the yarn that I used is this Stylecraft Special double knitting. There's a lemon one, and the number for that one is 1020 in lemon. And the code number for this one is 1001, and it's white. This is double knitting. It's beautiful to work with. It's really beautiful yarn to work with. Now I've sewed in my ends at the end when I change my yarn. Once you finish a row, just cut your yarn off and start your next row with your next colour. You don't need to do it in 2 colours. You can do all in the one colour. This is a beautiful blanket. You can do every 2 rows in different colours and make it like a rainbow blanket as well. This is what the other side of the blanket looks like. Now this stitch is quite thick. Even though this is double knitting, it turned out quite a thick blanket. So I used a 5mm crochet hook. If I did this again, I would use a 6mm crochet hook. When you finish the blanket, just finish it on that double crochet row. There's a double crochet row that causes that ridge. I would just finish it on that row. I do have a little curl at the end. It could be the yarn, but it straightens out as you work up. As you can see with this, you get a lovely straight edge as well. To fix that, once I finish my blanket, I'm going to spray it with warm water so it's damp. Then I'll put it onto a large dry bath towel or a bath sheet. I'll put a little pin in just to hold down my peaks, and then put another dry towel on the top and leave it all to dry, and that should flatten out that curl that's on there once it's been pinned down and left to dry. It's only that side it's curling, this side isn't curling in. I've got a couple of loose threads here that I need to stitch in. I've just been stitching it in as I work. This is a beautiful pattern. So get your crochet hook and get your yarn and work along with the tutorial. The stitch count for this blanket is 15. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did 9 sets of 15 for this little blanket. This will fit in a Moses basket, a stroller, a pram, over your car seat. You can make this darker colours for adults, make it even like this for adults, make it bigger. It doesn't need to be for a child. You can make this as a throw for your bed. It's beautiful. Use up all your scrap yarn with it as well. 2 rows of any colour of little scrap balls that you've got and make a rainbow blanket. It's really pretty. So grab your yarn, grab your hook, and I'm going to show you how to make this lemon. I'm calling mine lemon waves because I've done it in lemon, and that white looks like the froth on the top of the wave, but you can call yours anything that you like. So I'm going to show you how to do this little wavy blanket, and it is easy. Don't be put off by the pattern. Give it a try. It is easy. So for my sample, I'm going to use this Dolly Mix double knitting yarn. These tiny little balls are great if you want to do a blanket and just do a few rows of colour. So I'm going to do it with that. I'm using, this is a tulip crochet hook. Now it looks round when you first sort of see it laying down, but when you pick it up, it's got this big flat sort of pushed in area. The whole thing is silicone. It's really smooth. It's got a nice pointed hook as well. So this tulip one, it's rounded. It's not too big either. I don't like sort of so much when the hooks are really long and they stick away out the back of your hand. This is just a nice little size to fit your hand, and look at that, when you close your hand over, your thumb just automatically goes to that flat pad part. So I'm going to use that. I'll put a link in the bottom. I'm not getting paid to tell you about these hooks. I'll put a link in the bottom. These ones are tulip hooks, and this hook is a UK 4.5mm. That's a 7.5 in the USA, I think. So I'm going to use this yarn. So your stitch count for the blanket that I did is 15. So I'm just going to do a slip knot, and I'm going to do my chain in 15 sets of stitches. The stitch sets in 15. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one set of 15. So I'm going to do, I'll do 4. 1, 2, 4. So I've got my foundation chain done, and I've done it in sets of 15. So I'm going to add an extra 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. So that chain of 3 counts as your first treble crochet. Now into the 4th stitch we're going to put 3 more treble crochets, so we have 4. That's going to count as your first one. So into the 4th stitch put 3 UK treble crochets. So that chains 1, that's 2. We need 4 altogether. 3 and 4. So we've put 3 into the stitch, and that chain of 3 there makes number 4. Into the next stitch we're going to put 1 treble crochet into the next stitch. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to count that as stitch 1. That's stitch 1. We need 7 stitches along, and we're going to be skipping a stitch as we do it. Now when I was doing this bigger blanket, when I was doing this one, I found it easier to do, count that first stitch as 1 and then work along until I had 7. That is the easiest way to do this, is once you've done your fan, I'll find the other end. So once you've done your fan of 4, then count the next one as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 as you work along. Every time you do your fan, the next stitch is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then it's a fan. Then you do another fan, and we'll do another 7 treble crochets spaced out around here to make that dip. So that's how I found the easiest way to remember. Once I've done the fan, the next stitch after it is stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we've got our little fan of 4. So that is stitch 1 into the next stitch. So we're going to skip the next stitch and do a UK treble crochet into the next one. So that's stitch 2. Skip a stitch and then do a treble crochet. that's stitch 3, skip a stitch and do a treble crochet, that's stitch 4, skip 1, treble crochet, that's 5, skip 1, treble crochet, that's 6, skip 1 and treble crochet, that is 7. So we've got our 7 stitches that's going to make that little happy smile. Now into the next stitch you're going to put 4 treble crochets. We're going to make a little fan. So 4 treble crochets, 1 all into the same stitch, 1, 2, all into that stitch, 3 and 4. So that's the first part of your pattern done. Into the next stitch you're going to do another fan, so put 4. We're going to start the next section of the pattern, so you'll do a fan of 4 into the next stitch right beside that one you've just done. So that's 1, 2, all into the same stitch, 3 and 4. So the fans that are in those 2 stitches make the up part of your wave. So we're going to do another down part, so we're going to do another 7 treble crochets. So right into the very next stitch put your first treble crochet, so that's 1, skip 1 stitch and do a treble crochet, we need 7, that's 2, skip 1 stitch and do a treble crochet, 3, skip a stitch, do the next one, that's 4, skip a stitch, another treble crochet, that's 5, skip 1, treble crochet, 6, skip 1 and treble crochet. Make sure you're not skipping the same stitch you've used. So that's 7. So again we've got our little upturn. We're going to do a fan into the next stitch and a fan into the next stitch. So 4 treble crochets into the next stitch to make your fan. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So into the very next stitch you're going to do another fan. So put 4 into that stitch, 4 treble crochets into the same stitch, 1, 2, this yarn's lovely, 3 and 4. So you've got your upturn, and that's the way you're going to work this. So you've got 1 fan on the end, 7 stitches with your skip stitch in between, 2 fans, 7 stitches, 2 fans, 7 stitches, and we should finish on 1 fan on the end. So into the very next stitch you'll do a treble crochet. That's stitch 1, skip 1 stitch, another treble crochet, that's stitch 2, another one, skip 1, that's 3, skip 1 stitch, treble crochet into the next stitch, that's 4, skip a stitch, that's 5, skip a stitch, that's 6, skip a stitch, and that's 7. Into the next stitch, do your fan of 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's my first fan done. Into the next stitch, that one's pulled it a little bit, so into the next stitch, make sure you go into the next one and put your 4 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to do our last set of 7, and we should have 1 stitch left to put 4 treble crochets in. So 1 into the very next stitch beside that fan, that's stitch 1, skip a stitch, that's stitch 2, skip 1 stitch, 3, skip 1 stitch, 4, skip 1 stitch, 5, skip 1, that's 6, skip 1, and that's 7. So I've got my last stitch, and I'm going to put 4 treble crochets into that last stitch. That's 1, pull that through, 2, into the same stitch again for 3, and 1 more makes 4. So that's your first row done. Now that row's done, you'll see where you're going a little bit easier. So now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Now right into the very stitch, the very first one, you're just going to do a UK double crochet. If you're in the USA, that's a single crochet. So the next stitch, we're going to go around the post. We're going around like that, in the space and around the post, around the back of it. So just put your stitch around, put your hook around, pull your yarn through and do a double crochet. You're going to do that all the way along. So behind that stitch and do a double crochet. Behind the next one, double crochet all the way along. And that's what gives you that ridge on this side. So these are the 2 rows you'll keep repeating. So I'm going to put 1 double crochet, I'm going behind the stitch, right behind it. It's called a back post, so we're going behind the post and do your double crochet, and it's going to make all that end flip over all the way along. Now remember, when you get to your fans, remember and do every one of them. Go behind the post, behind the post, behind, all the way along. So I'm at my last stitch. That was that chain of 3 at the very beginning. Now into there, into that chain, I'm going to do a double crochet, And this is what it looks like on this side. It gives you that ridge, and that's this ridge here. That's this ridge. That's how you make the ridge. I'll pop that off to the side. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your work around. Now that's your first treble crochet of your fan. So into the very next stitch you're going to put 3 treble crochets, and that one will make 4. So into that very first stitch right at the bottom of that chain, you're going to put 3 treble crochets. That's 1, 2 and 3. So your chain makes up your 4th one. So we're just going to repeat the pattern again. Now you might have to just slightly turn it because your stitches are over here a little bit. We're going in through the top here. Don't work these stitches here on that ridge. Make sure that you just give it a little slight turn. So the next stitch you're going to put 1 treble crochet, and that's going to be stitch 1. So remember we need 7 along here. So that's stitch 1. Skip a stitch and treble crochet into the next stitch. Stitch 2. Skip a stitch, treble crochet into the next one. That's 3. Skip a stitch, treble crochet. That's 4. Skip 1 stitch into the next one. That's 5. Skip 1. That's 6. Skip 1, and that one is 7. And that's going to make your little smile. So the next 2 stitches you're going to put a fan in, put your 4 treble crochets into that stitch, and then 4 treble crochets into that stitch. We're going to make the top. So into the next stitch put 4 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 treble crochets into the next stitch. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's you done your top part, and you can see it developing. You really will get to grips with this if you do that little stitch count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so you don't get lost. You do your 2 fans, and then into the next stitch. Make sure you go into the next stitch and do 1 treble crochet. That's stitch 1. Skip 1. That's stitch 2. Skip 1. Skip that stitch. Into the next stitch. That's 3. Skip a stitch. Into the next one. That's 4. Now you do have to kind of turn your stitch. If you're a beginner, turn it right round so you can see it like this, and if you're not, you can just go right through the top. But it's these stitches here, not the ones right down here on the front that are there. Just give it a little twist. So what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4. So skip a stitch and go into the next stitch. That's 5. Skip a stitch and go into the next stitch. 6. Skip 1, then through that stitch. That's 7. Now I've got 1 stitch left right on the end, and I'm going to put my fan in there. So that's 4 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Chain 1 and turn. Now into the very first stitch do a double crochet. You're going to do those back post stitches again, so go behind the post, so that's your stitch there, and you're going in that space at the side and bring it right behind, and you're going to do that into every stitch, and that's the 2 rows you'll keep repeating. It's once you've done that back post stitch that you'll change your yarn once you've done this row if you want to change it. So 1 back post, there's your post there, you're going in that space and around like that, just go in behind that whole stitch, and you're going to do that all the way along. When you get to your fan, so I'm at my last stitch, and that's your 3 chain. I'm just going to put a double crochet into the top of that chain of 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. And this is what your little waves look like. Doesn't look like much now, but once you've got it built up, it'll look like this one. Now you can change the colour of your yarn. Before you do that chain of 3, that's when you'll change the colour of yarn. Look at that lilac and lemon, that's really nice together. Look at that. I think I'll make one that's all different colours. That's really pretty. So I've done my chain of 3. Now what you'll do is you'll start with your fan again. You'll put 3 treble crochets, that's your first one, so put another 3 treble crochets in there to do the fan. You'll do a treble crochet into the next stitch, that's stitch 1, skip 1, treble crochet, skip 1, treble crochet till you've got 7. That'll take you up to here. You'll do your 2 fans at the top, then a treble crochet, skip 1, treble crochet all the way down and around till you've got 7, and then do a fan, and then your 7 treble crochets, your fan and your fan. So that's the 2 rows that you'll keep repeating. But this is really, really pretty. The sun's just gone away. This is really pretty. Look at that. It's just those 2 rows. Just rewind the video and you'll do that fan row, and then you'll do that back post row. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Please click on that subscribe button. It is free to subscribe to the channel. If you want to help with donations to the channel to help keep it running, you can click on the join button. There's a word just down there that says join, and if you click on that you can donate a monthly amount to the channel just to help with the running costs. But if you want to subscribe, it's free to subscribe. You can subscribe for free, and if you click on the bell icon, YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.